Well, Lee, I'm going to clue this in on your video here, and I don't know if it really goes along with what you were saying there at the time, but something I've noticed, and I've noticed especially, I've been married to my wife coming on 3 years in April. Love her to death. But I've noticed this even before. Me and my wife been together for like 6 years altogether. We've been married for coming on three. And I've noticed something. My wife's family tends to be Democrat. My wife claims to be a Democrat. But we watch something on the news, and a very conservative idea comes up, and she says, well, that just makes sense. And you go through the campaigns, and she's hearing the conservatives saying, well, yeah, this makes sense. And uh, the liberals say something, and she says, no, we don't need that. We need to have, say, let's say, strong borders. We don't need the illegal people coming in just, whenever they want and that sort of thing, and getting driver's licenses and voting and stuff like that. She's firmly, against that. But when it comes time for elections, she doesn't vote, which is good for me, but in my view. But anyway, she does not choose to vote because she's afraid she'll be called on jury, and she doesn't want to do that. But the whole premise of the whole thing is she'll say that she's voting for a Democrat. Well, I'll say, well, why are you voting for this person? This is what they believe in. Well, my family's always been Democrat. So if I was voting, I'd vote for a Democrat. And I'm sitting there thinking, what in the world is the problem? And I noticed this at work with guys. Things will come up, and I'm not working right this moment, but anyway, when I'm working, something will come up, and a conservative person, let's say, Bush will come up with an idea. And she'll say, well, yeah, that makes sense. And then she heard something that Patty Murray up here in Washington came up with, and it's like, we don't need that. But every time elections come around, she says, if I was voting, I would vote Democrat because my family does. And I get the same thing for work for people. And usually when a person says I'm voting Republican or I'm voting conservative or whatever they're voting, you say, well, why are you voting? Well, because they believe this, 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 and this. But what is it with, well, my family's always been Democrat, so I'm going to vote for a Democrat. And you sit there and disagree with everything they say, but yet you say you would still vote for a Democrat. I don't get it. Maybe you can shed some light on this. I don't know what's going on with it, but you know, I've never voted for this because my dad was a Republican, okay, or conservative anyway. He tended to vote Republican, conservative. But me and my dad had disagreements, and I did not vote with my dad on all things because my dad was a conservative or my dad was a Republican. But I do tend to be conservative in my views. And if you're voting for a person or a party because your family has always been that, even though in your mind you're disagreeing with what they're saying, what are you doing voting? I mean, I don't get it. It just goes against everything that I believe. If you vote something or vote for something, it should be something you agree with. Not somebody giving away money to illegal aliens or blah blah and all that. No. If you're against that, vote against it. Vote for the party that's more your way, not just because it says Democrat or Republican. That's that's all I really got to say. I just but it's something I've noticed throughout my my life so far that people will agree with a conservative issue or many conservative issues, and then still vote for a liberal or Democrat because I've always been a Democrat, or my family's always been Democrat. I don't get it. Please enlighten me if you could tag on to this or something. I just don't get it. I'll let you go, and thanks a lot. I just blowing off a little steam here. And don't get me wrong, I love my wife to death, and I wouldn't trade her for anything. But okay, let you go on that.